What's going on, you guys? Welcome on back to the channel. Now, today we're finally going to be continuing my Haikyu series that I've had going on the channel for a little bit now. This is video 2 of that series, so if you want to check out the other one that I did, I'll leave it linked down below, or you can leave it or you can find it even somewhere on the channel. But this is pretty much going to be talking about why I believe Hinata going to Brazil and learning beach volleyball is quite possibly one of the most influential and best training arcs in all of anime and manga. Now, at first, I didn't really think like this. I had just finished reading Haikyu for the first time, so when I got to the Brazil arc, I'm going to be honest, I didn't understand why we were going there at first. Because to me, Hinata seemed like at least one of the best high school level volleyball players. So I just thought he was going to go right to the pro circuit and get his redemption that way. But when you think about it, him going to Brazil makes a lot of sense because at Nationals, Hinata suffered quite possibly his biggest failure, and that is he didn't take care of himself, ultimately resulting in getting that fever that took his team out of the running when they quite possibly could have beaten Kamo Madai. And I feel like that weighed on Hinata way more than it was shown in the manga because Hinata, in my opinion, was the biggest playmaker on offense. He was the one that got them that lead over Kawamidai in the match that made you feel like, okay, Karasuno can win this. Karasuno can win this match and get to center court off the backs of Hinata and Kageyama. So when Hinata goes down with that fever, you see everything essentially begin to crumble away. You see Hinata's dream starting to close for him when the gymnasium doors close and he has to go to the hospital. So when I was reading that and when I watched that, I was like, okay, he's going to go to the pro circuit and just essentially beat up on everyone there until he gets to play against Kageyama and hopefully take down Hoshiumi sometime during his pro career and get that redemption. But that didn't happen. And when we get to Brazil, it makes a lot more sense because Hinata suffered his biggest failure because he didn't take care of himself. So what does he learn to do? He learns how to properly take care of himself. He's treating his body better. He's picked up meditation as a way to calm himself when he's feeling things like anxiety. Like there's literally a moment in the Brazil arc where Hinata is just in his apartment trying to bond with his roommate, and his roommate's not talking to him. So he goes to his room, and once he gets to his room, he immediately has a crushing feeling of isolation. He misses everyone. You see him just go and sit in the corner of his bedroom. Like, he just sits in the corner of his bedroom, and you can only imagine the thoughts that are racing through his head at that moment. But then what does he do? He immediately gets up and goes to train and meditate, and he feels better. I thought that was just so good because it shows how much more Hinata is able to take care of himself even than when he was from the beginning of the series. That just exemplified his growth as for me as a character because I never thought we would see Hinata in that kind of state. I loved that. I loved seeing him just being able to grow in that moment. So, but and like I said, that's what I love the most about the Brazil arc. But there's so much more that I love about the arc, man. There's so many, like, just little things about it. Like, everything when Oikawa shows up and is essentially able to be another teacher for Shoyo, I loved that segment so much. That might be my favorite segment because I always wondered what it would be like for Oikawa to be setting to Hinata. I always wondered what that dynamic would be like, and it didn't disappoint. It felt so natural and it felt good because, as it's been said in the story, Oikawa can set to quite literally anybody at this point. So him setting to Hinata kind of felt right and natural in the story. And dude, when Oikawa is essentially just training Shoyo, I think that just adds another toolkit that adds another tool to Hinata's toolkit. He's able to get that perspective from the great king that he's admired for so long. Like, that's what I loved about it. But my favorite thing about this arc, and I know I'm kind of going a little bit off topic, but my favorite thing about the Brazil arc in general is I love how much it elevates Hinata as a player for volleyball because Hinata was always already great on offense. That was never like a discussion. But what everybody wondered was, can he become a big playmaker on defense as well? Is that something he could do? Because yes, he was receiving well at nationals, but he had just started doing that. So would he be able to do that consistently? And would he be able to become more of like a dual threat? Could he do both? Could he be both? Like that, like could he essentially be an offensive and defensive threat in volleyball? And because of beach volleyball and everything he learned during his time in Brazil, he's able to do that. He's essentially Nishinoya and himself combined. And that's what I love about it. Like, Nishinoya isn't really in the time skip. He doesn't show up physically in the time skip, but because Hinata's become such a master on defense, you're able to feel Nishinoya's presence through Hinata's defense. I loved that so much, and I thought it was so cool because if you go back and you read Haikyu, you see how much Shoyo just idolized Nishinoya. He idolized him so much because he was everything that Shoyo wasn't. He was essentially what he always wanted to be on defense to help the team. He essentially wanted to be a guardian as well, but he didn't have that defensive pressure. He didn't have that kind of ability yet. But now he finally has that. Now he's essentially the dual threat that he's always wanted to be. Like, he's finally able to be like the guy that he's looked up to in volleyball this whole time, Nishinoya. I just love that so much, man. And like, just what he does in the beach volleyball segments, man, like he's essentially able to do everything, and that's what's so important, and that's what's key. That's why he couldn't go to the pro circuit immediately, because since Hinata is short, even though he's a great volleyball player, he knows that his height will still be used against him when it comes to trying out for the teams. He knows his height is still going to hold him back. So what does he do? He goes to learn beach volleyball so that way he can learn literally everything that needs to be done to be a good volleyball player. Like, he learned how to set, he learned how to be a master on defense, and he just took his offense to a whole new level. So that's why when he leaves Brazil and he goes to pretty much vie for a spot with the Black Jackals, like, they bench their starter guy because like Hinata is so undeniable at this point. And because of everything that happened in Brazil, nobody can deny Hinata of his like gifts anymore. Like, nothing can be taken away from him at this point. But what could be taken away from him is he has to fight for his ability to stand on the court forever at this point. Like, he's always going to have to fight for his ability to stand on the court. And that's kind of essentially how we lead into the next arc. So I know I pretty much rambled about the Brazil arc, but man, the Brazil arc is quite possibly one of the best arcs in all of manga at this point. Like, I don't know like what the mangaka was like he was just cooking something amazing, man. Like, I can only imagine how good of an experience reading this week to week was. But dude, on a binge as well, like, it feels so much better than everything in Jump at that time. I feel like Haikyu was just such a deep story, man, and it just gets like further encapsulated on in the final arc in the match against Hinata and Kakeyama, and that's something I think we will discuss next time. So I know this video was kind of all over the place, but I kind of just really wanted to talk about why I love the Brazil arc so much at this point and why it's one of the best arcs in all of manga at this point. So I really hope that they get an anime season to really tackle this material properly and it's not relegated to a movie, because this stuff deserves to be seen by everybody. But that's enough rambling for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, I'm going to talk to you guys next time. Bye.